Minasan konnichiwa, and welcome back to the Board Game Dojo's 2023 Holiday Board Game Gift Guide, where we're giving you over 50 unique game ideas to make it through this holiday season. Now, in order to help you as best we can, we have instilled two rules on ourselves. The first one is that the game has to be available and able to get to you in time for the holidays. So if imported, it means it pretty much has to be available now. The second one is that it can't be ridiculous to acquire the game. We don't want to give you a game that costs $10 and then the import fee is $50. That just kind of defeats the purpose. Luckily for us, compared to last year, these rules are a lot easier to follow because board game stores across the globe have either A, started carrying imported games, or B, expanded an already existing collection of imported games. One store that does that is our sponsor for this series, travelgames.co.uk. Not only do they have travel games that make excellent stocking stuffers, as their name implies, but because they are a co-host of the Board Game Dojo podcast and I work for them as a translator, they are the first and often only place to get positively reviewed games from our channel, as well as other hard-to-acquire Asian imported games. They didn't get to choose anything on any of our lists in this series, but if they do carry them, we'll put a link to that below. We don't get paid if you click on those links, we just thought it would be helpful. And now for our final part of our holiday board game gift guide, we are doing 15 stocking stuffers. And because there's 15 instead of 10 in our other videos, and we want to keep these videos kind of short, we are going to go through these rapid fire. So let's not waste any more time, let's begin. The first one to go over is called Mino Dice. Mino Dice is a trick-taking game that includes dice. In each round, you're going to have to bid on how many tricks you think you're going to win. And each round, the number of tricks that you're going to play is going to increase. So in round 1, you're going to play 1 trick. In round 2, you're going to play 2 tricks. And if this sounds kind of familiar, you're probably right. It sounds a lot like Skull King. And that's because this game originally was called Skull King, the Dice Game. So if you're already a fan of Skull King, then you might just want to pick this one up. The next one to go over is That's Not a Hat. That's Not a Hat is a memory bluffing game that has the theme of gift giving, which isn't a bad gift to give, right? Every player starts with the gift that they brought to the party face up, but slowly and surely as they get passed around, they will be turned upside down, and on that back side, there will be a directional arrow, which means that the player needs to pass it in that direction. They will need to say what the gift was, and definitely slowly but surely, everybody's going to forget what exactly gift they have and which one did they receive last round. I have no idea, but that's okay because you can absolutely bluff. If somebody thinks that you're bluffing, they will call you out on it, and whoever is wrong needs to take that card as a penalty point. You'll keep going until somebody takes 3 penalty points, and then they are eliminated. Whoever has the least amount of penalty points wins. It's a great combination of memory and bluffing, and I've had lots of success with it. The next one is Cross Clues, and this is the first word game we've actually had on any of our videos. Cross Clues is a cooperative game in which you'll be working with a grid, and you will get a card that says a location on the grid. So if you have a card that says A2, and maybe in the A row you see grape, and in the number row you see sandwich, you might say jelly because grape jelly and jelly goes on a sandwich. So then the other players need to guess, oh, that's A2, I think. And if you're right, then you get to put it there. And if you're wrong, then that card is discarded and you don't get to score that point. Add that to the fact that you are going to be timed while doing this and you have to do it before time runs out, and you get a chaotically fun word game that you'll just want to keep getting better at. The next game to go over is Dracula vs. Van Helsing, which is a 2-player card game in which one player will be Dracula trying to convert all the villagers into vampires, and the other player will play as Van Helsing, who is trying to get rid of Dracula's health. They will achieve their goal by trying to win in different neighborhoods, and they'll start their turns by drawing a card and then having to discard one of the cards, either from the neighborhood or the card they just drew. The problem is that the better cards tend to have better powers. Like the 7 is the second highest card in the game, but it also allows you to choose the trump suit. So, I kind of want to save the 7 because I think I can win, but at the same time, if I choose the trump, then I can win my other neighborhoods and then I can really do a damage. So there's lots of tantalizing decisions in a very short playing time, and I've really enjoyed playing this quite a bit recently. The next one to go over is Viking Seesaw, which is part of the Fun Brick series that you can actually watch our entire video in which we go over all of them over here. Viking Seesaw is a game that you will play either 1v1 or 2v2, those are our 2 favorite configurations of it, in which you'll have a bunch of household items and a teeter-totter in front of you that is shaped like a Viking ship. You'll want to put one of your household items right here on the side that is facing upwards and hopefully not have it tilt down. If you succeed, then great, it's the other player's turn. But if you knock it over and anything else falls out, then you have to take an item from the middle of the ship and any that fell off the ship along the way. You are trying to have the least amount of stuff left at the end of the game. It's a fun, silly little game that we have just kind of left on our table a couple times and watched people play throughout the holiday season, and it is one of our favorite in the Fun Brick series. The next one is definitely not going to be for everybody, but I'm somebody who likes to collect playing cards, so I do recommend getting somebody a deck of Hanafuda cards. Hanafuda cards are traditional Japanese playing cards that were ways to get around the legal system when Japan kept outlawing playing cards. Hanafuda cards are beautifully crafted, working not only as a way to play Japanese traditional games, but also as an art piece. And if you know somebody that's like me that just likes having an array of playing cards, then getting them a deck of Hanafuda cards is probably a good idea. The next one to talk about is Super Skill Pinball in any of its various iterations. Super Skill Pinball is a roll and write, and I think it's actually called Super Skill Pinball 4K, in which you are playing with a pinball machine, comboing and trying to get your high score. They have a bunch of different iterations, including one for Christmas that I think has National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation on it. While it's not the best roll and write out there, I definitely think it's one of the most thematic, and if you know somebody that really likes pinball, I don't think I can think of a better stocking stuffer than this one. The next one to talk about is Circus Lacati, which has basically a different version based on the country that you're in. I'm a little bit partial to the Japanese version, which is called Summer Treasures. Circus Lacati is a push your luck game in which you're going to be adding cards to the row. You can choose on your turn to take one of the cards, and that'll help you score different sets, but you can also choose to add in another card, but if it matches one of the cards that are already on the table, then you get nothing. It's a very simple, quick game that I do recommend if you pick up to play multiple rounds of. And if you're looking for a simple game to play, maybe bring to the family with people who don't really play board games, I think Circus Lacati is an excellent option. Next up, we have Pokemon Dabble. Dabble is also known as Spot It around the world, but the one in Japan that comes with Pokemon is called Pokemon Dabble. The most basic version of the game will have you flipping a card into the middle and trying to be the fastest to find a match between the card on the table there and the card in front of you. And the Pokemon version, of course, is Pokemon. I've used various versions of Dabble for multiple things, either in the English classroom with elementary students to teach them new words, or just with people to teach them that speed games can actually be fun. And you can actually try Dabble online on Board Game Arena if you want to give it a whirl before getting it imported. The next one is a bit of an interesting one, and this is For Northwood. For Northwood is a solo trick-taking game that I actually backed on Kickstarter, I think it was, or GameFound. I can't remember which one it was. Either way, having a solo trick-taking game is really rare, and there's lots of replayability that comes into it. For example, you're only going to use half the rulers in the deck every game, so you're going to get different combinations of these throughout your games. There's a campaign booklet that allows you to have different missions and different objectives in your games. This has become one of my favorite solo games to play when I just have a little bit of downtime, and if you're interested in it, I recommend you take a look. The next game to talk about is Vegetable Stock, a very simple game from Taiwan in which kind of is like if Point Salad had stock options. Each round, every player is going to take one of the cards that are on the table, and each card has different vegetables on it, like carrots and eggplants. Whatever card isn't taken that round will move the stock option. So if there's a card that's left over that has 2 eggplants and a carrot, the eggplant stock will move 2 spots up, and the carrot will move 1 spot up. However, what can happen is if it reaches the top of the card and you can't move it up any further, is it actually goes bankrupt, resetting all the way down to the bottom. Once all the cards are taken, you will then count how many of each vegetable you have and multiply that to where the stock is, and whoever has the most points wins. It's a very quick game, it's a very accessible game, something we've talked a lot about on our holiday gift guide. And I think that maybe it's not going to be people's favorite game ever, but it is a game in which a lot of people are really going to enjoy, and that's why we think it is a good option for the holidays. The next game to talk about is Sea, Salt, and Paper, a game that is picking up steam as the expansion Extra Salt has just come out. Each round you're going to be drawing cards either from the deck or from the discard piles and deciding whether or not to play matches or sets of them. Some of them allow you to steal cards from the other players, take an extra card from the discard pile, but some of them are also just points. Once you reach a certain amount of points, you can actually call the end of the round, calling either last chance, giving your opponent a chance to actually beat you, or saying immediately stop, in which you still win, but you just get less points for winning. With its tiny box and its cute origami art, I've actually brought this game to multiple places and enjoyed it quite a bit this year, and I hope you think it sounds fun enough to get as a gift. The next one is a really good family trick-taking game, and this one is Gatama, the Tricky Egg Game. Gudetama is an adorable egg character from Japan that is absolutely lazy, and in this game you don't want to win the final trick because then you get a lot of points, and in this game you do not want points. There's a couple different versions of this, including a holiday version if you're feeling festive, and overall we've had a good amount of luck playing this game with kids and getting them into trick-taking, but even if you're playing with adults, I mean, come on, it's Gudetama. Who doesn't love Gudetama? The next game to talk about is an Oink game, and it is called Durian. Durian is kind of push your luck game in which players will each have one card, but they actually can't see their own card. They can only see everybody else's cards that show the inventory of what ingredients they have. Players will then draw a couple of cards, choosing one and putting down the order that they are taking. And you'll keep going until somebody thinks that there are way too many orders and not enough ingredients to cover those orders. And then they'll ring a little bell that comes in the box. If they are right, then the person who just took the order will get in trouble. But if they're wrong, then they will get in trouble instead. The manager's level will keep rising in anger level, causing more severe punishments. This is a really silly game, and having that little bell in the little box is really a nice touch, and we've had a lot of laughter playing this one. Finally, the last game on today's list is Arum. Arum is a new trick-taking game that combines bidding and must not follow. What that means is that at the beginning of the round, you are going to bid on how many tricks you think your team is going to win. And then once the trick actually starts, you must not follow. So if I play a green, you cannot play a green. You're trying to get as close to your bid as possible, but if you go over, you get points. It's just if you get exactly your bid, you get tons of points. And you want points because points give you gold nuggets. And if you get 2 gold nuggets, then your team wins the entire game. We thought that this was a really good combination of must not follow, which we've seen recently well done in Tricky Time Crisis and Arum now, and bidding, which is one of the things that we like in trick-taking, which can be represented by the fact that our very first game in this video is also a bidding trick-taker. And that is a very nice callback to the beginning of this video because this is now the end of our holiday gift guide. We hope that you have enjoyed listening to all of our recommendations and that we have been helpful in your gift-giving adventures. Stay tuned to the Board Game Dojo. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button because we're going to keep going over games as it leads up to the holiday season that we think are going to make good holiday gifts and give it a really good full review of it. Thank you so much for watching this year's holiday gift guide. Arigatou gozaimashita. Until next time, ja ne!